Hello, and welcome to me talking. Thanks for coming. I would like to do today a review of a film I recently saw called A Ghost Waits. It is a 2020 film directed by Adam Stovall in his directorial debut. Right off the gate, without spoilers, I would say it was a very cute movie and totally would recommend it if you don't mind a movie with a low budget. I was reading through reviews and everyone was kind of using the same word to describe it, which would be amateur. I think that is a little mean. As I said, it is this director's directorial debut. I think they did a good job with the budget they had. To me, the one thing, regardless of budget, that a movie should have is a good story. And this did. So for me, the budget doesn't matter that much. And I just really like the story that they told. So now to get into spoilers, since I just would say I recommend it. All right, so the movie is about a down on his luck repairman, Jack, and he is staying at a house to inspect it for his employer, Neil. So apparently with this particular house, people keep leaving suddenly and very, very quickly. Like the house has a really high turnover. And when I say leaving suddenly, I mean like the previous people left all of their belongings level of suddenly. He's kind of couch surfing there because at this moment it seems like he doesn't have a place to live. He's actually not really supposed to be staying there, so he's willing to kind of take his time doing the inspection, but his work is very important to him. Very soon after he arrives, the haunting begins, and he starts noticing like things are opening when he didn't open them, like doors and cabinets. He keeps labeling everything with tape, and the tape disappears, and he's just kind of rejecting it. He's going through the house going, nope, 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 it's not happening, it's not happening. One point he's laying down listening to music, and the music cuts off, and he hears a disembodied voice saying she liked his singing as he performed a song the night before, and he's just kind of looking around for, someone who's talking, but there's no one there, and he says, thank you? And she then replies, you should do it somewhere else. Honestly, yes, girl, go off. So he's a little freaked out when finally the ghost reveals herself to him. She looks kind of scary. She has like black veins, and she's hovering and screaming. And he freaks out and runs out of the house into the car, but then decides to come back in, I think partially because he forgot his keys, but also he says, I have a job to do, and he is adamant about continuing on with his work. So he refuses to leave. And this creates a problem for our ghost, who we learn is actually a spectral agent named Muriel, who's been haunting that property for about 200 years. It's very, very much like Beetlejuice, where they have this really sad, like bureaucratic afterlife where, people work for like ghost supervisors and they're assigned a house to haunt. Yeah, I kind of hate that idea of the afterlife, but it does make for a fun story in this movie. Her boss is Miss Henry, I think, and she sends in a new, like, up-and-coming agent to help her with the haunting, Rosie. Ghost shenanigans ensue. Muriel and Jack actually sit down and kind of get to know each other and become friends and decide that they don't like Rosie, so they need to get rid of her. And they do trick her into leaving. And then Miss Henry comes to talk to Jack. And she's basically trying to figure out like why he's not afraid and why he's not running away, because this is creating a lot of problems for their spectral agent business. And he says he doesn't really know. He has a job to do, and he's not doing his job because he likes money, but he needs money to live. And it gets into this really kind of interesting conversation as it pertains to Jack's motives and Muriel's motives. She sees haunting as like her purpose. She was given this house to haunt, despite the fact that she didn't actually die there. She was like just assigned this house randomly. And she really likes doing her job, and it gives her a sense of meaning, whereas with Jack, he's just doing his job because like I said earlier, he's like homeless right now. He needs to be able to buy food and survive in the society that we've created, but his his meaning is the friendship and relationship that he's developed with Muriel over these past few days. So it does kind of get into a little bit of like existentialism versus absurdism, with Muriel kind of going into existentialism, being that stuff just happens to us, but in existentialism, we acknowledge things happen to us kind of without our control. But we often try to gravitate towards a sense of reason or a purpose. Oftentimes, like if you look at Kierkegaard, it would be religion. You try to find a reason why. Versus with absurdism, which is more what Jack's doing, is acknowledging that all this is just bullshit. We're just kind of going through the motions until we die. And that is, at the end, what happens. Jack actually decides to take his own life so that he can be with Muriel and they can haunt the house together. And it is kind of a very sweet ending. Like, they do end up staying together, and they go through a montage at the end of showing them haunting new couples that move into the home together. It does seem actually kind of adorable, but it's like, you know, this universe where there is like a real afterlife, you know, something that's very, we acknowledge as being like, this does definitely exist. If you die, this is what happens to you. It doesn't have this, like, taking your own life doesn't really have the same weight as it does in a world where we don't know what happens when you die. You know what I mean? Like, when you know there is a, like, I don't know, like a tangible afterlife, that it's not as big of a deal, I guess. Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a fun story. Like I said, it is very, very low budget, filmed in black and white, everything. The acting was pretty good. I've definitely seen worse, for sure. The makeup was bad. Wow, was it bad. But yeah, overall, very fun movie. Totally recommend it.